You were formed in sacred silence. Hands of heaven shaped your frame. Breathed alive.
What gets us out of bed in the morning? What helps us preserve, dream, create and connect? Science gives us a word for it: dopamine, a powerful God-designed molecule in our brains that shapes our motivation, attention, emotions, and even our relationships. But there's something even deeper at work beneath the chemistry. Because behind every drive to move forward is the whisper of something sacred. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. So, how do dopamine and dignity connect? Dopamine doesn't just push us to achieve, it invites us to engage with life. When it functions well, it helps us feel connected to our goals, experience joy in progress, form meaningful bonds with others, and learn, grow, and adapt. But when dopamine is depleted or out of balance, we often feel numb, tired, disconnected from life, from others, and from ourselves. This loss of vitality can feel like a loss of dignity. But here's the truth: your dignity doesn't come from how well your brain performs. Your worth is not measured by your productivity. Your dignity is inherent because you are made in the image of God. It says in Bible, so God created mankind in his own image. Genesis 1 verse 27. The more we honor our bodies, minds and emotions, the more we cooperate with that image. When we care for our brains, yes, even our dopamine, we are not just improving performance, we are honoring the sacred design of being human. But what does the Bible say about caring for ourselves? The Bible is clear. God desires wholeness for every part of us, body, soul and spirit. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, honor God with your bodies. 1 Corinthians 6 verses 19 and 20. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Matthew 22 verse 37. And notice this: mind, soul, body, all included. Self-care is not selfish, it's a stewardship. When we move our bodies, nourish ourselves, rest well, and engage with creation, we are not performing, we are participating in the life God lovingly prepared for us. So, what is God's will in all this? God's will is not that we live burned out, disconnected, or emotionally numb. His desire is that we abide in his love and from that place bear the fruit of joy, peace, patience, and hope. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. John 10 verse 10. God has wired your brain for renewal. He gave you a nervous system that responds to kindness, movement, music, stillness, and relationship. This is God's work in you. God made you like that. The more you support that system with small grace-filled habits, exercise, prayer, rest, connection, the more you can begin to feel alive, not just functional. This is not by trying harder, not by fixing yourself, but by learning to rest, in the rhythm God designed for you and for all of us. Welcome to Dignity Talks. I am Ritva Huusko, a psychotherapist from Finland and passionate about exploring healing and wholeness through both psychology and biblical wisdom. Here we talk about faith, emotional growth, and the dignity of being human. If you're seeking insight, hope, or just a quiet space for your soul, you are in the right place. Subscribe and join us on this meaningful journey. It doesn't cost you anything. But let's go back to today's topic. A 2023 study by the National Institutes of Health revealed that our dopamine levels directly affect how much effort we are willing to make in order to receive a reward. High dopamine levels increase determination and perseverance, while low levels can lead to passive and lack of initiative, something commonly seen in depression and burnout. But dopamine doesn't just influence how we work or pursue goals. It also shapes how we interact with others. A 2024 study from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai found that dopamine and serotonin work together, but through distinct pathways to affect how people communicate and form social connections. This may explain why dopamine imbalances are linked to several neurological and psychiatric conditions, such as autism spectrum disorders and schizophrenia. And what about learning? A 2023 article from Science Daily reported that dopamine plays a dual role. It not only reinforces previously learned behaviors, but also drives the motivation to learn new things. This is especially significant in the context of education and the workplace. Without dopamine, we lose the inner drive to grow. So, the real question is, how can we better understand and work with dopamine? Because this isn't just about brain chemistry. It's about how we stay motivated, how we learn, and ultimately how we live. Imagine for a moment, your brain is an orchestra. Picture your brain as a grand orchestra. Every cell, every neural pathway, every neurotransmitter is part of this subtle and incredibly complex symphony. What happens when one of the most important players, dopamine, starts to play out of rhythm, or when its sound fades almost to silence? Dopamine is not just the so-called pleasure chemical we often hear about. It's more like the lead conductor of the brain, orchestrating everything from motivation and movement to attention and reward processing. But when its function is disrupted, the effects can be far-reaching, especially for neurodivergent individuals. In people with autism spectrum disorders or ADHD, dopamine transport and receptor function can differ from neurotypical brains. This can affect how we perceive the world, respond to stimuli, and experience our environment on a fundamental level. So today I want to invite you on a journey deep into the world of dopamine, so we can understand how this one molecule can shape our entire experience of life. Can we influence how our brains produce and use dopamine? The good news is yes, we can. Even though dopamine system irregularities can present challenges, particularly for those on neurodivergent spectrum, there are ways to support healthy brain function. And those ways are not limited to medication, even though medication has an important role for someone. For example, in treating ADHD, stimulant medications like methylphenidate act like a volume knob for the brain, in changing dopamine availability and improving focus. In the case of autism spectrum conditions, medications often focus more on managing co-occurring symptoms like anxiety, and dopamine targeting drugs are used with caution. But what if I told you we each have natural ways to boost dopamine? Exercise is one of the most effective. Every step you run, every dance move you make, every bike ride not only raises your heart rate but also activates the brain's reward system. Or swimming, whatever movement is good for you. And then music. That one song that gives you chills can also trigger the release of dopamine. And then there is sleep. A good night's sleep allows our brain to reset, balance its neurotransmitters, and prepare for a new day with clarity and energy. So, the point is this. It's not just about how our brains are wired, it's also about how we can support them. When we understand dopamine's role and learn how to regulate it, we don't just improve our focus or mood, we can reshape our entire quality of life. So, what if we took our brains back into our own hands? This is a miracle which God has made possible. What if we gave ourselves permission to nourish our brains, work with them, and finally begin to listen to their rhythm, and maybe even learn to enjoy the music again? Dopamine is a central neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in regulating mood, motivation, and the brain's reward system. And the good news in this is dopamine production can be supported and changed naturally through healthy lifestyle habits. This is what God has prepared us. Below the evidence-based practical exercises to help boost dopamine levels. Here are they. At first, exercise. Regular physical activity, especially aerobic works out and high-intensity interval training, has been shown to increase dopamine release and receptor density in the brain. Research shows that heat increases dopamine T2 receptor binding in the nucleus accumbens, a core part of brain's reward center, by 16% compared to sedentary control animals. And this is practical tip. Aim for at least 30 minutes of physical activity per day, such as brisk walking, jogging, cycling, or any form of cardio exercise. What is possible for you? Pick that one. And then meditation and mindfulness. You can meditate Bible. It can help boost dopamine levels and change overall emotional well-being. Studies have found that regular meditation increases dopamine receptor availability in the brain. So meditate the Bible. Start with a daily meditation session of 10-15 minutes, preferable in the morning or evening. What is good time for you? And if the word meditation now feels unfamiliar or intimidating, let me reassure you, meditation is not any other than You simply slow down. You are present and you notice your thoughts and sensations without judgment. You can read Bible meditating that. Because meditation is a practice of focused attention and conscious presence. Its purpose is to train the mind to observe thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations without reacting impulsively or self-critically. It's often referred to as a gym for the mind, a tool to improve self-regulation, reduce stress, and support emotional balance. Multiple studies have shown that regular meditation lowers stress hormones like cortisol and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of the body responsible for the rest and recovery. And meditation also helps increase awareness and acceptance of emotions, reducing impulsive reactions and enhancing emotional resilience. Training the mind through meditation strengthens attention and cognitive endurance, especially helpful for those who struggle with overthinking or focus. And meditation also helps individuals recognize their thinking and behavioral patterns, which supports then psychological growth and self-compassion. And here is a simple practice. Sit or lie down comfortably with your back straight. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. Just observe the inhale and exhale without trying to change it. And when your mind inevitably wanders, and it will, gently return your focus on the breathing. Continue from 5 to 10 minutes, gradually increasing the duration over time. Meditation's effects have been extensively studied in neuroscience and psychology. Functional brain imaging studies show that meditation strengthens areas such as prefrontal cortex, linked to attention and decision making, and the insula, associated with bodily awareness and emotional processing. So dopamine is more than brain chemistry. It's a key to how we feel, focus and grow. Medication can play an important role for many, especially those with ADHD or autism, but natural dopamine support through movement, mindfulness and rest can significantly change emotional well-being and cognitive functioning. So what if we begin taking better care of our brains, not just through what we avoid, but through what we actively nurture? Your mind is not just something to manage, it's something to support, strengthen and heal. Here is a simple practice for mindful breathing meditation. Sit or lie down comfortably with your back straight. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. Just observe the inhale and exhale without trying to change it. When your mind inevitably wanders, and it will, gently return your focus to the breath. Continue for 5 to 10 minutes, gradually increasing the duration over time. And what is science behind this? Meditation's effects have been extensively studied in neuroscience and psychology. Functional brain imaging studies show that meditation strengthens areas such as prefrontal cortex, linked into attention and decision making, and the insula, associated with bodily awareness and emotional processing, what a wise God we have. So supporting dopamine naturally is important. Dopamine is more than brain chemistry. It's a key to how we feel, focus and grow. This is what God planted in us. While medication plays an important role for many, especially those with ADHD or autism, natural dopamine support through movement, mindfulness and rest can significantly change emotional well-being and cognitive functioning. So what if we begin taking better care of our brains? Not just through what we avoid, but through what we actively nurture. God has given us wisdom to do it, so let's do it. Your mind is not just something to manage, it's something to support, strengthen and heal. And then, thirdly, nutrition. Dopamine is synthesized from amino acids, especially tyrosine and phenylalanine. These are found in protein-rich foods such as turkey, beef, eggs, dairy products, soy and legumes. And this is practical tip for you. Include protein-rich foods in your diet and ensure sufficient intake of vitamin B6, iron and folate, which are essential for dopamine production. And then fourth, sunlight and vitamin D. Sunlight stimulates both dopamine release and the body's production of vitamin D, which then supports healthy dopamine balance. Studies show that exposure to natural light increases dopamine levels in the brain. So, practical tip here, spend time outdoors in natural daylight, especially in the morning and without sunglasses, if possible, to allow light to reach your eyes and positively influence brain chemistry. Fifth is listening to the music. Listening to music can boost dopamine release and improve mood. Research shows that enjoyable music activates the brain's reward system and increases dopamine levels. Practical tip: make time to listen to your favorite music daily, especially in the morning or before demanding tasks, to boost motivation and focus. And then sixth, I know there are some which don't like this, but cold exposure. Cold exposure, such as cold showers or ice baths, can stimulate dopamine release. Some studies suggest that cold exposure increases dopamine levels and helps elevate mood and mental clarity. And here's a practical tip for you. Start your day with a 30 or 60-second cold shower, gradually increasing the time as your tolerance builds. And seventh, setting and achieving goals. Setting small, achievable goals and completing them triggers dopamine release and strengthens internal motivation. Research shows that experiencing success, especially through progress, boosts dopamine levels and contributes to emotional well-being. And here's a tip how to break large tasks into smaller milestones and celebrate their completion, whether by taking a short break or giving yourself a small reward. And eighth, spending time in nature. Spending time in nature and moving outdoors can significantly reduce stress and naturally boost dopamine production. Studies have shown that time spent in natural environments improves mood and increases dopamine levels. And here's a practical tip for you. Aim to spend 20 to 30 minutes in nature, such as a forest, park, or near water, several times a week. And ninth is sufficient and high quality sleep. This is actually very important. During sleep, dopamine levels are restored and the brain regulates dopamine receptor sensitivity. So sleep deprivation decreases dopamine production and receptor function, which can lead to lower mood and lack of motivation. So that is why it's very important you sleep. And here's a practical tip for this. Aim for from 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. And study shows that about 8 hours is enough, not 5. Sleeping in a cool room, ideally between from 15 to 19 Celsius, can significantly improve sleep quality and deliver several health benefits. Here are some key evidence-based effects. Faster sleep, onset and deeper sleep. Your body temperature naturally drops before falling asleep. Then a cooler environment supports this process, helping you fall asleep faster and stay in deeper sleep stages. Studies have shown that sleeping in a cool room increases the amount of deep sleep and reduces nighttime awakenings. It also increases melatonin production. Cool temperatures support the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. Melatonin not only promotes better sleep, but also has antioxidant and anti-aging properties. It also improves metabolism and brown fat activation. Sleeping in a cool environment may activate brown adipose tissue, which burns calories to generate heat. This can increase energy expenditure and improve insulin sensitivity, potentially aiding in weight management and reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes. And it causes better mood and stress resilience. Higher sleep quality in a cool room is associated with improved mood and reduced stress levels. Some studies suggest that cooler sleep may increase serotonin production, contributing to emotional balance. So, what is optimal temperature for sleep then? Experts recommend keeping the bedroom from 15 to 19 Celsius grades, and that is from 59 to 66 Fahrenheit for optimal sleep. A room that is too warm can disrupt sleep, while a room that is too cold can cause discomfort. So it's important to find a temperature that suits your personal preferences and supports your body's natural temperature regulation. So, while there are many benefits to sleeping in the cool environment, it's crucial to ensure the temperature doesn't drop too low, which could cause discomfort or pose health risks. Personal comfort, health conditions, and individual preferences should always guide your sleep environment setup. It's your brain, your potential. What gets us out of bed in the morning? What gives us the strength to face uncertainty, chase our dreams, and keep going even we're tired? The answer is not just willpower. The answer is not only God. The answer lies deep within us, which God has built in us, in our brain, in our body. Dopamine helps us. So today we have learned that dopamine is not just a molecule or hormone of pleasure. It's the movement of life. It's the silent conductor that regulates how deeply we care. It's the spark that gets us started and the fire that keeps us moving forward. Think how wonderfully we are made, how wonderfully God has made us. But what happens When that system is out of balance, when dopamine levels drop or its function shifts, we may not only lose motivation, but also our connection to ourselves and to others. So this is something many people experience. Those who are neurodivergent, burned out, depressed, and maybe at times you and me when we are stressed. But hope never disappears because the story of dopamine isn't finished. It's continuously being shaped by our choices. So let's do small actions. They have a big impact. Today, you have learned that you can influence how your brain functions. When you move, you activate your reward system. When you meditate, the Bible, the Word of God, you calm your mind and sharpen your focus. When you eat well, nourishing, you give your brain the raw materials it needs to thrive. And when you sleep deeply, you give your body a chance to recover. And when you are in nature, you return to presence, breathe, and restoration. With music, cold exposure, and small achievements, you can build dopamine bridges toward better days and better life. Dopamine is a message. You have the power to shift directions. This is not about perfection. It's about turning in, learning to recognize when your body and mind need support and offering it with compassion. Your brain is like an instrument. It may feel out of tune sometimes, but it is not broken. It simply needs adjustment through movement, rest, connection, and rhythm. So the most important message right now is you are not just a chemical reaction. You are a whole person which God has made for His image, and you have influence over your life. That has God given to you. So a decision that can begin today is maybe after watching this video, you will make one small change. Maybe today you'll take a walk without headphones and notice a wind, notice sun. Maybe tonight you'll turn off your phone a little earlier and sit in silence. Maybe you'll listen to yourself and respond. Because every small action is a message to your brain. I'm here. I'm ready to support you. Dopamine might feel like a narrow path, but sometimes fades into fog. But now you know where it begins and how to find your way back. Don't underestimate how one small moment can change everything. Begin a big change in your life. Because true neuroplasticity is not just a property of the brain, it's a posture of the heart. All you need is a willingness to change, to learn, to grow, one piece at a time. Because you are not just chemistry. You are a living soul. Dopamine might influence your mood, but it doesn't define your worth. You are not just a brain. You are a sacred being with a name, a purpose, and a future that matters. So when you take care of your brain, when you choose to sleep well, move joyfully, gently, breathe deeply, and create space for your healing, you are not being selfish. You are living out your God-given dignity. If this message spoke to you, if you found hope or healing in it, please subscribe and share this video with someone who needs this kind of encouragement. At the same time, it's a very simple way to support this channel, and it helps me continue creating content that brings faith, psychology, and dignity together. Thank you for being part of this journey today, and God bless you.